Because I didn't think I'd ever meet him. And I thought, that's absolutely appropriate. It should be absolutely up to him. But, you know, I'm really grateful that I had the opportunity to meet you and, you know, to develop a relationship. And so I think there's lots of good stuff that's come out of it for me.
I'm grateful too. In many ways.
Mm-hmm.
The only other thing I wanted to say before we open it up to questions is part of our reason for doing this is you got to agree this is an uplifting story. There aren't too many of those uplifting stories this summer, and maybe people will get a good lift out of this. But also, we want to spread the word that it's possible to recover emotionally from clergy or childhood sexual abuse and get your life together and be productive and be happy. It's also important for people that have serious illnesses to not give up hope and to not be afraid to reach out to other people for help, because you never know who will be able to help you or what other drug is coming along next in the pipeline. And if you can figure out a way to hang on there and keep your body and your emotions together, it may pay off in ways that you never expect. And then I guess the third thing is we really want to promote the fact that kidney or other organ donations are something that people should seriously consider, and that it's a wonderful way to reach out to someone else in society and to make the most of your life in ways that you may not previously have considered.
Was the faith component part of this for you?
Oh, absolutely.
In what way?
Well, my Catholic faith, my formation as a person who makes ethical decisions in the world is informed by my Catholic faith, primarily.
Did you share this with your parish? Did they know what you were doing before you did it?
Well, I didn't tell a lot of people.
Okay.
And I have a wonderful relationship with a man whose integrity I've experienced in walking through my own journey of talking about and trying to hold accountable my perpetrator. His name is Kevin McDonough. He is currently the pastor of St. Peter Claver, and I won't say this correctly, Sagrado Corazon. And I did talk to him when it got closer because I trust him. But I didn't seek counsel particularly. I just think that, you know, the values that underlie my Catholic social justice teachings and the heart of the compassionate teachings of my faith tradition, nobody can take those away. The bad behavior of bad and criminal behavior of the people who wear collars and who cover up crimes against sexual abuse, you know, that doesn't take away my belief in the values. So I continue to practice my faith. And I hope to continue to influence the conversation about accountability around sexual abuse by being in the room. You know, if I leave, why should they have my church? I'm not, you know, they have to kick me out. I'm not leaving.
What was the conversation like between you two? The emotion behind it when you both realized at this point that you were both abused, and now you guys are coming together and you're giving him a kidney. What was that conversation like?
We really didn't have that conversation much because it was something that I knew prior in the email.
Right?
Pardon?
Well, he didn't know anything about me.
Yeah.
He didn't even know my name until July.
Yeah.
So.
But I knew that she was an abuse victim because I knew it was someone that had responded to the appeal that the Survivors Network sent out.
I don't know why you would make that assumption though. Because it could have been a friend or a family
Well, I guess
member.
yeah.
Kind of an erroneous assumption.
I guess it could have been a member of the Voice of the Faithful, too, for that matter. But I knew that there was some sort of, a connection or an interest in
I'm sorry, but
in the issue.
really, kind of bad reasoning.
But, you know, the other thing is, for both Susan and I'm going to
Go ahead, I'll correct
trust
you.
me here. If I'm wrong,
Yeah.
you can correct me. I think that both of us, although we both had these horrible experiences that dramatically affected parts of our lives, not only when we were young, but also when we decided to go public and try to get a grip on what exactly was going on with the church. Since then, we've managed to put it behind us, and it's not, you know, the fact that I'm a victim or that she's a victim is not the most important issue for either of us in our lives. And so that when we finally met, that wasn't the main topic of conversation.
No. And I would say, you know, it takes a while to integrate that kind of experience and to move on. But if you do your work, you move on. You know.
Well, although this is important. Clearly, if I had not been molested by a priest when I was a kid, I would not have received a kidney donation from this woman when I was at the age of 56, 57. So there is a direct connection, because the appeal only went out to people who had some connection with the clergy abuse issue. So,
but just like everything else, you know, the worst thing that happens to you, or even the bad things that happen to you in life, they can't be your whole story. I mean, it can't be the end of the story, or somebody's won. So, you know, well, I have scars from lots of things. That was a significant event in my life, and the life of my family, I might add, and the life of my church. And I suspect that's the case for you. And there are lifelong effects from that. But it's not the only thing.
Years later, you picked up this problem with your kidneys because of, in part because of your treatment for AIDS?
Right.
Tell me about that.
I eventually did get very sick with HIV, and I spent the first half of the 1990s battling various opportunistic infections. And my T cell count, which in a healthy person is usually around 800 or 1,000, at my sickest, my T cell count was down to 9, so my immune system was almost completely wiped out. And I had recurring bouts of AIDS-related pneumonia, and they were having an increasingly hard time treating it, and it kept coming back, and it looked like that was going to be what was going to finish me off. So in '95, I was in the hospital with pneumonia, and the doctors thought that they could save my life, you know, wipe out the organism that was filling up my lungs with sort of an experimental drug. But they knew that it had the risk of scarring my kidney. And so they explained the options to me, and I said, let's do it, because there wasn't any other choice. And I was looking for anything that would give me another chance to, you know, just trying to stay along long enough for the next drug to come along and see if that's any better. So they gave me that medication. It did wipe out the pneumonia temporarily, but it scarred my kidneys as well. And in the scarring, what happens is that you get a little piece of scar tissue in each kidney, and over time the scar tissue grows, and it slowly takes over the kidney, so that the functioning part gets less and less, and eventually, you know, your kidneys don't work anymore. And in my case, just before I got my donation, my kidney function was down to 12%. And the doctors estimated that I would need to go on dialysis in probably 6 weeks. So it was right down to the wire. I really wanted to come out here, not only to offer my thanks once again, but to do it in person. But also, I really wanted to meet her mother and thank her mother for doing such a good job of creating this kidney, which is now keeping me alive. And so I came in on Thursday afternoon. Susan picked me up at the airport, and we went directly to her mother's house. And that was a meeting that I think it meant not only a lot to me, but I think it meant a lot to her mother as well. So it's been a visit filled with emotion and filled with giving thanks and basically having a lot of fun.